Okie dokie. So, you're looking for a multi-camera switcher / streaming device that's also standalone, so you don't have to hook up a computer to run software on to control what it does. This one might be the one for you. Which one am I talking about? I'm talking about the Osee GoStream multi-camera switcher / streaming device that has a built-in menu I'm gonna show you later on. So you don't have to hook up a computer and run software on. Now, I'm gonna take my sweet ass time with this video, so chapter marks are your best friends. Basically 3 parts to this video. Part number 1, I'm gonna give you a quick run through of all the technology that's currently in use to create this video, because it's not a typical streaming setup, because I also have to make this work as a tutorial. I've jumped through 1 or 2 hoops just to see whether it would work and to give me an edge or have a better option to show you exactly how this all works. Part number 2, I'm going to show you what all these buttons do. Basically, that's part number 2. And then part number 3, we're going to enter the menu and I'm going to show you how to customize what most of these buttons do and some other stuff, because the feature set is a quite extensive list. I don't know whether we can go through all of those in this video, but most of them, and you should get a very good idea of what this device can do and how it's set up, and whether maybe it's something that you should look at. So, quick run through of all the tech that's involved. Now, camera number 1, the one you're looking at right now, that's the main camera, fed into input number 1. Then we got camera number 2, which gives us this shot. We got camera number 3, which is a top-down shot. And we got, well, input number 4, which is the multi-view, which is the only way that I can show you this menu and how it works. This is why I had to feed the multi-view back into the GoStream. All right, so how does it work? Maybe let's take a look at the inputs first. 4 full-size HDMI inputs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and the multi-view input fed back into the GoStream. How that works exactly in a moment. Right here, this is a 3.5mm output for monitoring via headphones. Below are 2 3.5mm inputs that you can't really see right here, but they sit below the headphone out. And currently I have a wireless receiver connected that's receiving the signal of this body pack transmitter. So it's a wireless mic. I just connected those to show you that, well, you can. So if, for example, you were doing a live stream where you had to walk around and not always face a microphone or a camera, you could definitely hook up a wireless mic and use that one. Obviously, you could also hook it up to a camera and feed the wireless signal into the camera, from the camera into the GoStream, and that would work as well, but then it would be connected to a video source. In this case, the case of the wireless mic, it's a separate mic. You can add it or subtract it whenever you want, turn it on and off whenever you want without affecting any video source, if that's something that's interesting to you. Then, for inputs, full-size HDMI, 2 outputs, full-size HDMI. Output number 1 feeds the program feed into my Shinobi monitor right here. So if I'm confused with the multi-view and the big monitor, I always know that this is exactly what the audience sees. This is the program feed. And with output number 1, that's all you're getting. All output number 1 outputs is the program feed. You do not have options. That's different for output number 2. Output number 2 right here, you can choose to output either the program feed, the preview feed, or the multi-view. So 3 options with output number 2. I opted for the multi-view, and I did something special right here. I've already shown you that I fed the multi-view back into the GoStream via input number 4 to be able to show it to you. How did I do that? Well, output number 2 full-size HDMI, goes into this HDMI splitter right here. An HDMI splitter takes one HDMI signal and splits it into two. So one signal A goes in, two signals A go out. The splitter feeds one multi-view signal into my big monitor. So this is where I have my multi-view. And the other one is fed back into the GoStream via input number 4. So I can show you the multi-view. Now I could also output the preview or the program again, which is also what you could do. Now, I would prefer having a multi-view at all times on some monitor because it gives you an overview and it's really the best way for a single operator to know what he or she or they are doing. I mean, without a multi-view, it's kind of hard to know what you're doing except if you've set up a really simple live stream, which is possible, but not always the case. So, then we got two USB-C inputs for like a webcam, for example. We got Ethernet connection. To be able to stream, you have to hook this up to a router or, well, a network. This is where you would do that. Then right here, that's the power input. And on the left side in this case, and the right side, this is ventilation. By the way, on a side note, I used this on a job, on a remote shoot to feed all my camera feeds into. I had connected this laptop and over WhatsApp, I sent out some stills of the shots that I was doing to get feedback from the director and the producer that were in Berlin, so other end of the country. And this thing, that's what I want to get at, ran for like 7 to 8 hours straight. It did become really, really hot, but it kept working like a champ. So it never gave out on me. And I guess 7 to 8 hours, that's a stretch for such a device. But it performed really well. So even if you want to do really long live streams, longer than most, I'd say, this thing, I'm sure, if it's working properly, has you covered. All right, next up. This right here has a bit of a lag because, so the top-down shot, because this one is fed into the GoStream via video transmission. This camera sits on a boom. I did not have the right cables to connect it, but that's okay because I wanted to connect a video transmission signal anyway. So the transmitter, full HD, sits on the camera. And then right here, this is the receiver. The receiver has an HDMI out, and I feed that into input number 3. So with camera number 3, the top-down shot, there's going to be some lag. It's not going to be as snappy as the other two cameras. And that's why. It's a wireless video transmission feed. Did I forget anything? Big monitor, Osee Megamon, also from Osee. Great tech that they're doing. Really love using it. Yeah, of course. Why do I have a computer, a laptop in this case, at all, if I already told you that you don't need one? Well, this is for keying. I just have a green screen right here, but I'm going to show you how to do a Chroma Key. This is the only reason I have that laptop right here. It shows a green screen, so I can show you how keying is done. The Chroma Key is done. That's the only reason. I could also obviously use the laptop, and this one actually has an HDMI out and feed it into the GoStream. I could use a USB-C out, translate the whole thing to HDMI with something like this, and then run the laptop into the Osee GoStream as well. Which I didn't do for this video, but it's possible, obviously. All right, I think I showed you all the tech. So now let's actually get into the user interface of the Osee GoStream. Well, it's designed like a lot of other devices that you might already know of. Down here, program 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the camera inputs. Camera 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then auxiliary, black, which I'm going to show you what that is in a moment. That's actually the super source. Still number 1 and still number 2. This is the program feed that goes out to your viewers. Below that is the preview feed, and it's mirrored. 1, 2, 3, 4, the inputs, auxiliary, black, still 1, still 2. So here you select which signal you're going to transition to next. This doesn't do anything to the program feed, as you can see, because I'm still using the top-down shot, although I'm switching right here. With this one, you select, as I said, which signal to transition to after the one you're currently at. The one you're currently at is red. It's so bright that you can hardly see it, but it's input number 3 and it's lit, red. This is the one that's currently live, so to speak, and on. And green, down here, this is the one you're going to transition to. Let me try something real quick. Maybe I can, I know I can lower the, where is it, panel. Yeah, button brightness. I can lower the button brightness. Maybe that helps to give it a bit more color. That's 0. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, these flash red, these flash green. Then, as I mentioned, transitioning. This is transitioning. You have different types of transitions that you can customize via the menu. And you activate them via these buttons, and then you select what exactly you want to do via these 3 big ones. Currently, transition is set to mix, so it's a fade. That's the fade. You can obviously customize that inside the menu, the duration, I mean. I believe from like 0.5 or 0, in which case it would be a cut, to up to 8 seconds. So you can fade really, really slowly. And you do transition by tapping auto. Now, cut, obviously, would cut. That's self-explanatory. And then you have fade to black. If you want to like pause the live stream, for example, if you hit fade to black, your program feed just goes to black. Or if you want to switch a video source or set something up and you can't, you have to kind of experiment within the stream and you don't want people to see it, right? Because it's going to mess with your program feed. You can also fade to black and do that without anyone, well, really seeing what you're doing. Of course, they would notice that their stream is black, but that would be an option as well. Then here we got mix currently selected. We also have dip, which is a dip to color. If I do that, I've selected one of the stills as the color. Well, now it's dipping to a still. I can also select a color, an actual color, of course. Then I also have wipe, if you like that kind of stuff. And there's like a multitude of different wipes, like from all directions, at all angles. I'm going to show you like a couple of them. You're going to see there's like, I don't know, 16, a lot of wipes. Then, if you're not sure what transition to use next, you could also hit preview right here, which makes the transition only appear in the preview window of the multi-view. So if I hit auto now, nothing is done to the program feed. I can watch the transition. Maybe let's do a mix again on the preview feed alone. If I tap preview again, like if I tap it once, it's red. If I tap it again, now if I transition, it's going to do it to the program feed again. So if you're not sure how the transition is going to look that you want to do next, you can hit preview and only view it on the preview. Well, makes sense. So this is signal selection, and this is the preview selection. This is how you transition. Now up here, that's the on-off button. Here, that's the live button for streaming. So you can set everything up, but unless you hit live, you're not going to stream via your streaming key. Then this is all audio. Mic input number 1, mic input number 2, inputs 1 through 4. So all the audio that comes in via the 4 HDMI signals. Auxiliary, which I'm going to show you in a moment what that is. The audio, the master audio for the program feed. So if you're mixing different mics together, you can select the mix, which is program feed. Then here we got audio follows video and an on-off button. here's how that is working. Now, I have different mics. One sits outside the top of the frame. That's a shotgun mic, which is what you're listening to, what you have been listening to so far. Just to show you how this works, I also have a mic installed on that camera. You can see the dead cat on top of the camera right there at the left end of the screen. This thing. And then camera number 3 is just the internal camera, Mic number 3 is just the internal mics of the camera that does the top-down shot. So I can select, excuse me, this is where I want to go. I can select each mic source individually. Now I'm going to turn off mic number 1 and turn off each individual mic. And I'm going to select input number 1, and now I'm going to turn it off. Now I've selected mic number 1, which is the lavalier mic, so I can still keep talking to you while I do this. Now, I can go through each individual audio source and turn it on or off. I can add mic number 1 now. I can even add mic number 2. I can even add mic number 3. Now you hear basically a mix of all mics, which is unless you're doing like a interview scenario with multiple interviewees, not what you want. Usually. So I'm going to stick with mic number 1 and turn all the other mics off. Once you hit an input, if it's on, the on button is lit, and now it's off. Mic number 2 off, and mic number 1 also off. The only one that's still on is, I keep saying mic. I would have to say the inputs, the audio signals of inputs number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and mic 1 and mic 2 would be the ones connected right here. Now, how do you know which ones are on and off? That's pretty simple, because the multi-view bottom right corner shows you your audio signals. Now, currently, most of them are registering a signal, but only mic 1 and PGM have a red bar show up on top of the audio meters, which means that these are the only ones that are currently on. I'm going to go through the audio again and show you what happens. Turning off audio on input number 1, turning it on, and there we go. Turning mic off. Now this doesn't do anything, but the shotgun mic outside the upper edge of the frame is now turned on. Now I've turned the shotgun mic off. The mic that sits on camera number 2 is turned on, and you should hear a definite difference in audio quality. Now mic number 2 is turned off. Mic number 3 is turned on. This is the internal microphone of the top-down shot, and it is the worst one. So I'm going back to mic audio input number 1, and I'm deselecting the audio signal from input number 3. So now we're back to what we're used to. Now, there are cases where you want something that's called audio follows video. So if you have an interview with multiple interviewees, and whenever you select the camera, that's the specific camera for one of the interviewees, you also want to hear their audio. In this case, you could link the audio that's used to the video that's used, which is called audio follows video, and this is how you set that up. You have to know which sources you want. So let's say I want sources 1 through 3 from inputs 1 through 3. So I select source number 1, it's currently on, but I also select audio follows video for it. It turns green. Sorry, it turned green. I have to use this one now. This means it's now selected for audio follows video. Input number 2, I also select audio follows video. Input number 3, I also select it. And now I can turn mic 1 off and only use the input of number 3, because now you hear something, because video 3 is actually the program feed. If I now switch to video number 1, the audio will change, and now I'm hearing the shotgun mic outside the upper edge of the frame, because this is connected to the camera that you're seeing right now. Same thing, audio will follow video to video number 2. And now you're hearing the audio from camera number 2. And this is audio follows video and how it's set up. To undo it, I'm gonna use mic, so the lavalier mic again. All right, input number 3, audio follows video, turned off. Input number 2, audio follows video, turned off. Input number 1, audio follows video, turned off. Now I'm turning back on in audio of input number 1, because this is the one that I want to use. Now I'm going to turn off the lavalier mic. And now, no matter what video I use, you will always hear the shotgun mic outside the upper edge of the frame, because now audio follows video is turned off. What does this knob do right here? If I have a specific source selected, like input number 1, I can add plus 10 decibels of gains, or I can subtract up to 75 decibels of gain. So with this knob, depending on what source you have selected, you can fine-tune the mix. Plus 10 decibels is possible, and minus 75. So you can basically turn it completely off, or you can add like 10 decibels of gain. So this is the audio interface. Let's jump over here real quick. Right here, this is keying and overlays. Now, I can turn on the key, but that will only turn the key on the multi-view, on the preview feed of the multi-view signal. To actually see it in the program feed, I have to, well, touch up here. What did I just do? Sorry. I have to touch up here and select on air. And now it's going to appear. If I cut in between sources, as you can see, the key will stay. But if I transition, it goes away. That's the standard. If you don't want this to happen, if you want to smoothly transition but keep the key, you have to hit key again. It's already lit white, but if you hit it again while being on air, it turns red. And now, even if I smoothly transition, the key stays. That's pretty cool. Same thing with overlays, abbreviated DSK right here. I don't know what that abbreviation stands for. It's currently not lit. If I turn it on, it will show up on the preview feed. I can show you this real quick. Sorry, like this. Okay, you can't see anything right here. Well, just trust me, it shows up on the preview feed. Now let me turn the key off, because you can technically use overlays and keys simultaneously. But I'm going to turn the key off and only show you the overlay. Same thing here. If I cut, the overlay stays. If I hit the DSK button again while being on air, so it turns red, I can also transition and it will stay. There we go. Now let's turn that off. Yeah, so these are keys and overlays. Up here, this is recording. So I'm currently recording this feed, the program feed. I could stop that, which I'm not going to do, obviously. And then right here, this lets you play and stop or like switch the source for the auxiliary. If you tap play long enough, like 2 seconds, a menu pops up right here. And via this knob, you can select which video to feed into the auxiliary or UVC feed, which is seen in the multi-view in the bottom left-hand corner. I can select semi-pro budget wireless audio. I've basically pre-recorded some videos, one take. These are all feeds that I've recorded. And then these are videos that I've just prepared. So you can select the video, like semi-pro budget wireless audio, and it'll start playing in the bottom left-hand corner. Now, I can stop it, or I can play it. And with the other 2 buttons, I can select the next video. Now, there we go. And I can select to play this or stop this. Now, if I want to show you this video on the preview feed, I can select AUX, auxiliary, which is UVC in the bottom left-hand corner, and then make this my feed by transitioning to it. It's going to start playing, but without the audio. I can select audio and turn the audio on. In that scenario with a single talent that you use a boom mic on. And I now can narrate. The cool thing is that the audio this turns any XLR mic into a wireless mic. If I don't need the audio of the video, usually I select the boom sits on a light stand and turn it off. And now you can still see the video. It's still playing, but I'm narrating over it. Let's stop this and let's switch back to the multi-view. Yeah, or actually I can switch back to this one now. So this is what you do up here. Now I forgot something quite big, which is the T-bar right here. So you can transition in between your shots hitting the buttons. You can also do that using the T-bar. Let's transition between maybe these 2. Okay. I can use the T-bar and transition manually, which allows me the option to also stop transitioning right here, if this is something that I wanted to do. Or transition to right about here. So the T-bar gives you complete manual control over the transition. That is what you do with the T-bar. All right, so I think that's all of the interface, except this one right here, this knob that you can turn both directions, and the menu button. And it's quite good that this is the last one, because now in part number 3, I'm going to show you the menu system and how you can customize a lot of things that you can do right here. Oh, also, these are macros, right? These are like pre-recorded actions that you can record to each of those 8 buttons and then execute them via pushing them. For example, by default, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are set up to have a picture-in-picture appear. Top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, off. So you could do all of this inside the menu, but you can also record these actions to one of these buttons and execute them this way, which is a shortcut, basically. How to do that, I'm going to show you inside the menu So here's part number 3, the menu. All right, push the menu button. Push it again because I have to push it again because I'm in a sub-menu. And here we go. If we now turn this knob and push it, we can enter or exit one of the menus. By turning it, we can select the menu. There's quite a lot of them. So for example, you can select the color. To enter the menu, you would push down, then select color number 1, push down again to enter the sub-menu. And here you can select the color, like a different hue. Different saturation. Let's make this white. And a different brightness. Pretty straightforward. Color number 2, same thing. Maybe let's do, I don't know. First of all, let's up the saturation to know what we're doing. Yeah, let's take, what's a nice color? Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Okay, so this is how you set colors 1 and 2 that you're going to use later on for all different kinds of functions. Now, super source, you can have like a split screen. Let's turn it on. And in the preview feed, let's select black because this, for whatever reason, is the super source. And this is what the super source looks right now. You can select 2 sources, right? Whichever one you like, even auxiliary or the stills or keys or color bars or black. Let's select in number 1 because it looks nice. And for source number 2, you can also select, well, all kinds of things. This actually looks nice. And then you can select what the background should be. Black, color bars, different color, keys, still, auxiliary, or another in. Let's just go black. Then control. You can have cropped and zoomed in. You can have it zoomed in and cropped. You can have a crop on both sides, which is also a cool super source. Yeah. And you can have a zoom in like this. So both sources shown completely. You can change the, oh wait, let's, this is actually cool. You can change the Y positions or the up-down position. So that's pretty versatile to create a super source this way. Then you have masks for both the sources, right? Left, right, top, bottom. You're getting the idea. Okay, same thing for the other source. So you can really customize these. And you can add a border if you would like to. So that is the super source, which is also pretty cool. And as I said, it sits on black, right? This would be how you would cut to the super source. I don't know why it's called black, but it is the super source. Now, where do I want to be actually? I want this one. Yeah, that's super source for the time being. Let's turn it off and in the preview feed go back to number 3. Okay. By the way, I have set turning super source on and off on a macro, for example. Now key type, there's different types of key, picture in picture, pattern, which I didn't quite figure out to be honest, Chroma Key and Luma Key. Now I'm going to show you picture in picture and Chroma Key as 2 examples in this video. So first thing you have to do is select key type. Then I've selected picture in picture, come down here to picture in picture. And here you can select source, size, mask, border, and color. But before you do that, turn on the key so you know what you're doing, right? Otherwise, you can change all the settings here, but you're never gonna see what you're actually doing. So When you're working on a key, turn on the key in the preview window. Now source in 1, could be in 2, could be any source that you have at your disposal. Let's do a still, or let's do a little video, for example. So this is the auxiliary, the video that I can start or stop up here. Now size position, you can have it much bigger, and you can select the position. Oops. You can select the position. So again, you can customize a lot. Again, you have a mask, so you can customize even further. Again, you have a border, which I don't like, I never like it. You can also select the width for that border, and you can select the color of that border. And this is how you set up picture in picture. These are the 3. Well, this is how big it gets. Let's just leave it there. So this is how you set up picture in picture. And once you wanted it on your program feed, you would hit, now this is actually stupid. I can't see what I'm doing. Let's change the size back to 0.5 and let's put it all the way here. So this is how you set up picture in picture. Pretty straightforward. And now that it's set as the key, you can, well, turn it on and off, put it into your live view, into your program feed or not. Well, this is how you set this up. All right, chroma keying. Seems difficult, but really it's not. It's just 3 decisions. Decision number 1, what's going to be the source? Where do I want to make something transparent? In my case, video source number 1, the one you're looking at right now. And to demonstrate, I've prepared this laptop with a green background, which brings us to question number 2. What do I want to make transparent? In case of a chroma or a color key, it's a color. I want to make this color transparent, this green right here. That brings us to decision number 3. Once this is transparent, what do I want to put behind it? What's going to be the fill? And once all of those are answered, you can get into setting up the key. Let's enter the menu. Come to key type. Needs to be set to Chroma Key, which it already is, so that's cool. Come down to Chroma Key and come all the way down to Control first and enable the sample. This makes this little rectangle show up right here. Sample X position lets me position it horizontally. Sample Y position lets me position it vertically. And as you can see, depending on where this is positioned, the current color changes. Now, obviously, in case of a chroma key, I want this green color to be transparent. So this is where I'm setting that sample. Now I'm going to disable the sample. I'm going to come back to source and make sure in1 is selected, which it already is. Because if now I turn the key on and I'm gonna go live, it's going to work. Now I have not yet selected the freaking fill. So why is something already showing up? That's because, and that's counterintuitive, once the chroma key is activated, you're gonna choose the fill via the program input, right? The source you selected in the menu is going to be what the audience is seeing. The program feed on, or the program selection on the physical interface is going to determine what shows up here. For example, camera number 3, number 2, or number 1, in which case it's going to be green again because, well, that is what number 1 shows. You can select the auxiliary, which is the little video that I'm going to stop right now. You can turn on super source and show that, or you can turn super source off. Still 1, still 2, whatever you want. Basically, the counterintuitive thing to know is once you've turned the key on and set it to on air, you have to select the fill, which you do via the program input. And that's really all there is to it. Now, you do have your wonderful Chroma Key. Let's move further down. Let's come to transition. For mix, dip, and wipe, you can make adjustments. For mix, you can change the rate, change it to 3 seconds, so it takes longer to transition. For dip, well, let's go back to 1, which is the best in my opinion. 1 second, it's a nice transition. For dip, same thing. You can change the rate and change what to dip to. Color 1, color 2. Let's say color 1. Let's dip. There we go. That's a dip. We could also dip to color bars, if that's something you like. And you can change the rate of the dip. Transition. For wipe, you can select 18 different wipes. I don't know. Let's select this one. Let's see what it does. Yeah, okay. Interesting wipe. So lots of wipes to select. You can select how long it takes. You can select the position, the direction, normal or inverse. What happens if I do inverse? Not much. What happens if I need something other? This. Okay, what happens now? Comes in from outside, and if I select normal, starts from the inside, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is how you customize transitions. Lots of good stuff. Then overlays. Source. Well, fill, still 1, key, still 2. You can mask this. Well, let's turn it on. So still 1, key still 1, auxiliary. You can change the fill basically. Still 1 makes the most sense. The key, well, you could use this as a key, but that's really complicated. You can mask the whole thing, right? So you can adjust the overlays really well. Control, shape key. What the hell is this? Oh, okay. Man, I don't even know how that works. But you can do a lot of things with the overlays. But let's turn the shape key off. Rate, how long it takes. Okay. Then fade to black. Again, how long it takes to fade to black. And whether this turns audio follows video on or off. Audio mixer, every input that you have. Mics number 1 and 2, you can select fader, balance, input delay, and enable or disable them. And for, you even have a delay, that's cool. And for inputs number 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, again, you have fader, balance, so which is left, right. For monitoring, that's interesting, or for mixing. Input, decibels, and again, the enabling. Same thing for auxiliary. The program, master fader, you can add gain or subtract gain. And for monitoring via your headphones, you can do that as well. Let's turn off the overlay. Then let's come to still generator, still selection. You have 2 slots for stills. Still number 1 could be slot 0 all the way up to 31. Same thing for still 2 down here. Could be different things. Now still upload. So in location 0, I have Mark 10. In location 1, I have this thumbnail. In location 2, I have another Mark 10, and so on and so forth. And you could select for location 4 a different image that you put on the SD card. It takes a couple of seconds, maybe not even 1, and you've loaded the picture into location number 4. That's how easy this is. And then you can select it down here. Really simple. Macros are shortcuts. Sleep, 500 milliseconds, import XML. So on the SD card, there's an XML file that has all the actual coding for the recording of these macros. So if you know how to code, you can write them yourself. But it's much easier to program them the way I'm going to show you now, actually. So if you want to program, let's say, turning SuperSource on, you make sure SuperSource is turned off right now. Then you decide which one you want to program that to. Let's say memory number 7, macro number 7. You push for 2 seconds until it starts blinking. Now, as you can see, it is blinking. And now you do exactly what you wanted to do. You enter the menu, you come to SuperSource, you come to Enable, you turn it on, and you exit the menu completely. Then you push once, and now SuperSource can be turned on via memory number 7. Now, memory number 8 should turn it off. So make sure it's turned on, which I know it already is. I push down on memory number 8 until it blinks. Again, I enter the menu, come to SuperSource, go to Enable, and now I turn it off. Exit the menu completely and hit menu 8 again. And now it's programmed. This is the preview. SuperSource is currently turned off. And now I can turn it on by simply hitting the macro number 7 or memory number 7. And there we go. SuperSource turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on. Okay. And yeah, this is basically how you program these buttons. Super simple. Whatever you would need to do a menu dive for, you can record it to one of these buttons, which is really convenient. Stream. You can simultaneously stream through 2, 3 streaming services. Select the service. There's a lot of the ones that you know, maybe a lot of the ones that you don't know, but there's enough of them. You can select server. This is where you would input your streaming key. You could also, by the way, terrible transition. You could also, by the way, retrieve your streaming key from your streaming provider and place it in a text file onto the SD card, and you can then automatically load that streaming key into the key option right here, or you could enter it manually, which is, well, not necessarily recommended. It's much easier to upload it right here. And then you can obviously enable or disable the output for that platform. 1, 2, 3. That's pretty powerful. Streaming to 3 services simultaneously. Playback, well, this is for auxiliary. So bottom left-hand corner. Play once, repeat, or sequential, which plays the next video after the first one has finished. Play once is fine. Now settings, well, there's a lot. Which version? Build info, device ID, source name. You can rename all the sources if you want to. Metering, where you want audio meters to show, like on the program feed or not. Program feed usually turned off, all the others turned on. That makes sense. Layout, do you want program left, preview right, or the other way around? Program left, preview right makes the most sense, I think. Marker, well, these are kind of safe zones. If you're using lower thirds, or if you're not quite sure whether this is streamed to a television set, unlikely, but well, there it is. Mic input, you can select mic. Line, which is like from a mixing table, for example, a very loud signal, or even mic plus 48 volts of phantom power. So it's super cool that you can hook up a condenser mic, maybe go from XLR to 3.5 millimeter, and give power to this mic. Now currently mic is enough. You can do the same thing for input number 2. Now recording file, you can select the name, source selection, out format, 1080p, full HD 25, 30, 50, 60. 25 is good for me. Out source, HDMI as I said, HDMI 1. That is, oh, I have to correct myself. HDMI 1, you can select any source that you want. I'm going with multi-view, obviously. Oh no, excuse me, I'm going with the program feed. This is what I'm doing. HDMI 2, you can only select the multi-view. And then UVC, you can select, well, everything that you want, really. Quality, recording, there's high, medium, and low. Streaming, same thing. Set depending on the quality of your connection. Network, well, if you're streaming with a streaming key, this will be filled in for you. If you're streaming to a custom network, this is where you would enter, well, all these things. Panel, button brightness, I've already showed you. Brightness all the way up to 15 or 0, which doesn't mean they're not lit at all. They're just not lit very bright. Let's stick to 5. Reset, you can factory reset the whole thing or format the SD card. And that's it. Wow. Whew. Okie dokie. This is it. We're in over an hour now, I believe. Yep. So that's the Osee GoStream multi-camera switcher / streaming device, standalone. No need to hook up a computer to run software on to customize what you're doing, which I really love. I had nothing but good experiences with it. It's a workhorse. It's not going to let you down even if you're streaming for multiple hours. It can do a lot of things, as you've seen. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to control it. Usually you wouldn't control it and be in the front of the camera yourself, although that's something you can do. This is usually like one person controlling the stream and somebody else doing the hosting, doing the interviews and whatever. Anywho, I think the feature set is quite extensive. It's quite good. I really like all the things that you can do. It's easy to set up. It's easy to navigate once you get the hang of it. And it's standalone. So that's super awesome as well. Yeah. If you liked the video, if you found it helpful, please make sure to leave a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. Any kind of comment or feedback is welcome, and I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. All the tech, maybe not all the tech, but most of the tech, some of the tech at least, that I've used to make this all work is linked in the description. As always, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.